Welcome to Super Tuesday, presented by Boost Mobile. And welcome to Waco for what should be another wild one in the Big 12. A game that's very important to both West Virginia and Baylor as the Mountaineers are on the road to take on the Bears. Saturday, just another crazy afternoon and evening in this most competitive league. West Virginia, Dax Miles passing up an important three near the end of the game. Bob Huggins run, and it's another blown double-digit lead by West Virginia to KU. Baylor, on the other hand, got 24 more off the bench from TJ Maston, including a pair that put the Bears up for good, and they pulled off a crucial win, a top 10 win against number 7, Texas Tech. It could all come down to the meeting between Kansas and Texas Tech when game day goes to Lubbock on Saturday. Baylor, 5 straight wins. They vaulted themselves right up into the heart of the Big 12 conference race. Hi again, everyone. Bob Wischusen here with Tom Crean. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us. This is a vitally important game for both of these teams, and two teams that want to beat each other in a similar way, correct?
Oh, without a doubt. And the way that Baylor is playing right now, in this 5-game win streak, they're holding teams to under 25% from 3. But on the other hand, West Virginia's coming off a game where even though they lost, they went 14 of 26 from 3, and they lead the league in offensive rebounding. There are a lot of storylines in this game. How the 3 is defended and shot is the biggest one to me.
West Virginia, in spite of the fact that they have lost 7 of their last 11 games, Joe Lunardi still projects them as a 4 seed. The surprise, though, Baylor, they were struggling to be in the NIT field as of about 2 weeks ago, but 5 consecutive wins in the most competitive league in all of college basketball. Now Joe Lunardi projects them as one of the last 4 teams in. With a win tonight, they are a team that could be over 90% likelihood based on our BPI to make the tournament.
It'd be hard to deny them if they win tonight. And I'll go back a few weeks ago. I had Baylor at Oklahoma, and they were on a 3-game losing streak. And Baylor was so upbeat in practice, so high level. Scott Drew had a ton of energy, as did his team. It was just a matter of time, in my opinion, before they turned it.
Joe Lual-Achuil swoops across the lane to score the game's first points.
He is so good, Bob, with his left shoulder, and it's one thing to score it at the basket, but he's getting better at taking big steps and getting a big dribble to get to the other side of the basket like he just did there.
Foul called in the lane, and that's going to go against Wesley Harris. He was jockeying with Joe Lual-Achuil.
Well, he definitely, Matt Rule might be in the building, and he might be thinking about trying to get him to transfer on a hit like that. Certainly Dana Holgerson could use him in spring football. No, West Virginia's come to be physical. They're going to establish their intent tonight, and that was part of it right there.
And just like that, Press Virginia already impacts the game as Baylor is forced to call a timeout. We'll step aside, come back to Waco in 30 seconds. Just underway between Baylor and West Virginia, and major news made in college basketball today as the NCAA appeal by Louisville has been denied. This, of course, goes back to the sex for pay scandal back in 2015 that cost Rick Pitino and Tom Jurich both their jobs, and now has cost Louisville their Final Four in 2012, their NCAA title in 2013, and they additionally have to vacate 108 regular season wins.
Well, they still have an outstanding team as far as really good players, but they are potentially heading for a rebuild. And as a person that's lived through that, that is not easy.
Manu LeConte leans in. Mark Vital able to hold on to the loose ball. He finds Lual-Achuil cutting to the goal, but Big Joe couldn't handle the pass.
Doing a great job of cutting the weak side. Cutter in. Looking for a 3 when they reverse it back out, like right there.
And Javon Carter knocks down the triple to get West Virginia on the board.
Javon Carter's big. I had this game the first time at West Virginia He took 2 shots in the second half, and the second shot wasn't until 57 seconds when he basically hit the game winner.
Dax Miles with the turnover. Takes it away from Vital. The reverse is good, and West Virginia extends an early lead.
And that's exactly what Scott Drew does not want and cannot have. They have 21 turnovers the first game at West Virginia. The majority of them in the front court, but you can't have a backcourt turnover like that.
Manu LeConte can't connect from the corner. Offensive rebound for the freshman Tristan Clark.
These are arguably the 2 best offensive rebounding teams in the league. Baylor doesn't get enough credit for it. West Virginia leads the league. That's going to be a huge part of this game tonight.
Carter fouls the cutter.
This is exactly what they wanted. They wanted movement through the middle. They get the ball reversed. Javon Carter ends up in the corner. 3. Just a gimme steal right there by losing the ball. Mark Vital's got to be better than that with it. Watch for Joe to come back in off a screen from LeConte right into the middle of the floor. Great defense by West Virginia. They worked on this hard today at the walkthrough.
And it's a 3-second violation against Joe Luala-Achuil, so another Baylor turnover.
When we see Joe take it out, it's usually, he's not cutting out for a 3. So he's probably coming back into the paint. And there is no, after watching this walkthrough today, Bob, and I know you missed it because you were having the most ultimate travel day of your life.
It was an odyssey to make it to Waco, yes.
It was like watching a live practice with West Virginia. I mean, they went at it. And their energy was high. They were ready to go.
Daxter Miles kicks one outside to Wesley Harris. He'll drive it, float one up, and gets the roll. And I was at more than one Tom Crean shoot-around. And your shoot-arounds also were high energy, high tempo, intense. Did you have a belief, and do you think that that should be more than just kind of a game day walkthrough? You want your guys to work up a sweat.
It's all about, yeah, you definitely want that, but it's all about where is your team's emotional energy at? Now, you don't want to leave your game at the walkthrough.
Right.
But you do want to have an edge. And one thing Bob does that I didn't do, and I think I might again if I coach, is both teams went live against each other on the court. It wasn't just the scout team. It was both teams. So his starters were defending Baylor's action, or running the Baylor offense just like the scout team was. It was impressive. Javon Carter was like a scout teamer today.
And what has been impressive this year is the shot blocking of Zach Kanate as he was able to reject Luala-Achuil twice.
Well, he has made so much improvement. He's also made a lot of improvement on the offensive end. He's got a go-to jump hook now.
Vital, the rebound off the Issa Ahmad miss. Vital loses the dribble. Scramble forward on the floor. Vital's hurt. Took a shot right across the bridge of the nose. Lindsay will drive it across the lane. His floater won't go. Luala-Achuil loses it out of bounds, and Vital's going to have to check out of the game. So Nouni Amat will come on to replace Mark Vital, who took one right across the bridge of the nose on that scramble at midcourt.
Tough play. Yep, that is not fun. But I think that will not be the last loose ball scrum we see tonight with these two teams, because fearless you can equate with both of them. There is no doubt about it. Interesting point now. Terry Maston just checks in, Bob. He had 0 points in 11 minutes the first game at West Virginia. He's coming off averaging 25 this past 2 games, 26 and 24. A totally different player than what we saw in mid-January.
Miles for 3. Comes up short. Out of bounds. And it will go to Baylor when we come back. The Bears score the game's first 2, and they haven't scored since. It's a 7-0 West Virginia run here in Waco.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile and in part by Infinity. Empower the drive. And Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
It has been a roller coaster season throughout the Big 12, but 2 teams that are certainly emblematic of that. Teams in our game tonight, West Virginia and Baylor. Both have been highly ranked and both have fallen significantly. West Virginia off to a great Big 12 start. They were 4-0. Baylor alone in last place at 2-7, and now both have flipped the script. West Virginia to the negative. They've lost 7 of their last 11, although they have rebounded to win 3 of their last 4. But Baylor, they have a 5-game win streak, and what's really interesting, look at our BPI marking what we feel their chances were by percentage to make the tournament based on each of these results. When they fell to 2-7 and lost to Oklahoma, they were 14% to make the NCAA tournament. We have them now at over 85% to be a tournament team, as Lawal Achawil is blocked by Logan Rout. So this is a very important game as well for Baylor, as Dexter Miles is able to convert with a win tonight. 96% to make the tournament. About a 25% drop if they were to lose.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think there's 3 big reasons for this uptick. They inserted Jake Lindsey in the starting lineup at Oklahoma. They lost the game in a close game, but it changed the level of movement in their offense. He is a tremendous defensive player. Their 3-point defense has improved a huge amount, like we mentioned in the open. That's 2. And then Terry Maston playing the way that he is playing, being the efficient guy that he is. Early in the season, he was getting to the free throw line about once every 20 minutes. Last week, he was getting there once every 7 minutes. That may not sound like much. That is a huge jump when you have another bona fide guy that can score and get to the foul line.
Issa Ahmad in the post with 8 to shoot. Picks up his dribble. Dax Miles now near midcourt with 4 to get a shot off. He'll launch an NBA 3, and that won't go. Offensive rebound, Logan Rout. And a foul call.
Logan Rout, what a story. Bob was telling me the story today about Logan Rout. He said not only was Logan Rout not recruited by anybody in the Big 12, he wasn't recruited or offered a scholarship by the state universities, the Division IIs. Logan Rout is improving a lot. Bob went to speak in Cameron, West Virginia, ran into a lady that says, you need to recruit my nephew. He said, well, who's your nephew? So I'll tell you that he's 7 foot tall.
That's a good start.
The rest is history. He comes in, he earns a scholarship this year. And when I knew Logan Rout had arrived when Bob was on him as hard as anybody else at the practice today.
Beetle Bolden can't handle the pass from Lamont West.
Bob has made a living, whether you go back to Akron, Cincinnati, Kansas State, West Virginia, of seeing things in players that others didn't see. And he has a who's who of guys that were nobodies. And when it came to accolades and attention and high school, that have become so good. Such a developer of not only toughness and intensity, but of skills and fundamentals.
Lindsey gets his own miss and is fouled. Fouled by Issa Ahmad, who's probably the only player on this West Virginia team that Bob Huggins actually has to beat other schools for in terms of recruiting.
I think you're absolutely right. I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, he's dealing with recruiting guys that were getting single digits, like 5 and under type of scholarship numbers. And there's something to be said for that. As a coach, Dwayne Wade, when we recruited him, it was Illinois State, Bradley, and ourselves at Marquette. At the very end, St. Louis and DePaul offered him a scholarship. Victor Oladipo had a big whopping 1 scholarship offer with us at Indiana. And there's nothing like getting somebody that has a chip on their shoulder that wants to prove that a lot of people were wrong. And Bob has made a living of that. Baylor is so hard, Bob, because of the way these 2 guards play. They're long, they're active, they protect that free throw line nail. Got to stay down on the pump fake. They know, West Virginia knows, that Baylor is full of guys that will leave their feet if you pump fake them. Again, today, huge part of the emphasis of their breakdown work with Eric Martin and Larry Harrison. Larry Harrison must have said 5-6 times, if you pump fake them, you're going to go to the line. And we know any way for West Virginia to get to the line tonight is going to be in play.
That foul called on Tristan Clark, his first. And tomorrow night, catch an ACC Sonic blockbuster doubleheader on ESPN. North Carolina and Duke both in action. We'll start with UNC and Syracuse from the Carrier Dome at 7 Eastern. And then Louisville, fresh off of the bad news from the NCAA today, out there to take on Duke at Cameron Indoor. Both games available on ESPN as well as the ESPN app tomorrow night. King McClure kicks one to the corner. Lindsey bypasses a three. Maston with an old school ball fake, does not get the roll.
Yeah, he didn't extend. He's got to hold his follow through. He rushed the shot. The shot blocker affected his shot.
Teddy Allen gives it up. Kanate couldn't handle it at first. Now tries to rip it away through traffic. And a foul called? A foul called on Jake Lindsey. That's going to be his second. And that's an important call because Jake Lindsey, since joining the starting lineup and taking some heat off Manu LeConte as a ball handler, has had a major impact on this 5-game win streak for Baylor.
Without a doubt. And I think Manu LeConte is the most, the biggest beneficiary, let's put it that way, because he gets to move without the ball. Now, great drop-off by Teddy Allen. This is one of those calls, this is tough. This is a 50-50 call. And as a coach, I heard from a really high-level officiating person one time that on any given game, 10 to 13 calls inside of the game are going to be 50-50 calls. And I know that goes against common belief and wisdom, but it's true. And you want to be on the receiving end of those 50-50 calls. The other night in the Kansas game, at the end of the game, I didn't think they were on the receiving end of those 50-50 calls. My opinion, watching the film. That's one of the 50-50s that went West Virginia's way.
Bolden trying to beat the shot clock, has to launch one from deep. I guess if it's 35-2 in foul shots, that's Maston. Leans in and gets it pinned by Kanate. Issa Ahmad bumped hard and ends up underneath Maston.
Well, there is just nothing in college basketball like this with the two-hand blocks. I mean, it's incredible. And I've said it before. If he gets tired of basketball, beach volleyball has got to be in his future, and he could make millions. But right now, I think that he's down the road, going to be doing quite well at the next level in the NBA. He has got a gift for changing, altering, and blocking shots. His timing is incredible. Now, this is very interesting to watch as the bonus starts to climb, because the other day, West Virginia in the second half, they went 8.5 to 9 minutes in the second half between their 4th team foul on Kansas and the 5th team foul on Kansas. That's a lifetime. When you get somewhere around that 5 team foul mark, when the other team is in 5 fouls, you want to find a way, how quick can you get to that bonus? How quick can you get 6 and 7 on the other team? And that's the game within the game.
Looks like Beetle Bolden will be called for holding Manu LeConte. So that's now 5 team fouls on the Mountaineers.
I want to touch on this 50-50 thing again. It's not an insult to the officials. It's human, right? There are going to be calls that are going to come down that are too close to call, and it becomes a judgment call. And the official has got to be able to make that call. And as a coach, you want to get your fair share. You definitely don't want to be on the other end. You don't want to be on the wrong end of a 70-30 or an 80-20 when it comes to 50-50 calls.
Lawal Achuil spins to his left. Maston an offensive rebound. That won't go. Now the shot clock obviously should have reset. It's a held ball. It will stay with Baylor when we come back. And we'll see if the officials have to adjust the clock at all. But Javon Carter, when we get back, a closer look at his go-to move and the inspiration for it. Bob Wischusen back in Waco with Tom Crean, who spent some quality time earlier before the game with Javon Carter, learning about that jab, step, pull back, go-to move that Javon Carter has perfected. Not only has this become his relied upon move, but some Tom Crean DNA to a certain extent where he got it from.
And I had no idea, Bob. I love this move. I mean, it's lethal. It really is. It's so hard to guard because he can do it from so many places. And I asked him before the game, where did you learn that move? And lo and behold, all right, we already had the video, but he said Dwayne Wade. So Robbins, Illinois for Dwayne, Maywood, Illinois for Javon Carter. He's stealing from one of the all-time greats, and I'm sitting there, man, if I'd have taught him that move when he played for me, I would have been even a better college coach at Marquette. But Javon Carter is a student of the game. Bob Huggins paid him a great compliment today, Bob, and this is really strong. He said he is the hardest worker he has ever coached. And, I mean, that's something that you can carry that with you a long, long way.
Teddy Allen double teamed with 5 to shoot. Baxter Miles has to launch another deep three. That's the 3rd time that West Virginia has had to hoist up a prayer of an NBA three with the shot clock winding down.
You know, and 2 things with that. First off, he shot about 80% at the walkthrough today, and he's coming off a great game at Kansas. But they kept talking to him about moving in. And right now, he's backed up. He's not stepping in. And he's taking a challenge shot, and he's basically shooting it on the way down rather than shooting at the top of his jump at the release. And that's not how he shoots it. But he's rushing a little bit, but credit the length and the three-point defense right now of Baylor, and in that case, King McClure.
McClure loses it on the end line, pressured by Dax Miles.
Again, this is their 4th turnover of the game. They did not turn it over in the backcourt very much before, and now they're starting to. And then this is the first one, but this is where West Virginia just feels a feeding frenzy when they know they can start to bring something into this full court press and get you to panic on where you're inbounding it. Again, watch the zone. Watch how Lindsey guards that foul line, then extends up. LeConte gets back in the middle. They are so hard to deal with because of the way their 2 guards play up top.
Lamont West misses the 15-footer. Is that the Achilles heel, though, the open baseline or corner jumper against that zone?
If you can get it there, because their wings are so long, and what Baylor really wants you to do is get 3 guys above the foul line. They want 3 guys high so they can extend their wings. It's one of the reasons they get lobbed against, like by people like Kansas and Bill Self. Because it's so hard to throw that length. Like, you go out there and you try to throw it against Noonan, that's hard. But once you get it there, now you can play. And you can shoot the corner 3, you can drive it, you can hit the middle. That's where your offense starts once you get it to the corner if you attack that wing.
Manu LeConte comes up short. And it's out of bounds off Maston. Issa Ahmad back in. He'll replace Teddy Allen. Jake Lindsey back in the game with 2 fouls.
They want to start everything, okay, at the foul line, start their cutting, play through the middle, get it reversed, but keep watching for drop-offs because they're there. They can get it. They can get an offensive play underneath if they can bring Greg Joe to step up.
Bolden for 3. Knocks it down.
When he gets that right foot down, he is such a good shooter. And this is what I love. His on-the-ball defense, like right there, their pressure. Bolden, there's probably nobody in college basketball that I know of that's got 26 charges this year like he does. And as good as he is off the ball drawing charges, he is one of the best on-the-ball defenders in college basketball. Great job of getting his right foot down, shoots it at the top. That's when he's at his best, when he's not leaning, not fading off to the side, but planting the right foot straight up, hold his follow through. They've been worried about his shot being a little flat. There was nothing flat about that jump.
And Bolden replaced by Javon Carter. So West Virginia extends their lead, and Carter got a rest at the same time as we approach 9.5 minutes to go in the first half.
Carter took some time out of the walkthrough today. Bob walks up to him and says, "You're taking the day off, huh?" And he says, "No, coach." He said, "You got 3 point guards. I'm trying to give you a head start on next year." Bob says, "I'm not worried about next year. I'm worried about tonight."
Konate hits a jumper. And West Virginia with a double-digit lead. But a chance for a 3-point play as Mark Vital able to shake off the shot he took to the nose on the collision earlier in the half and make an impact play upon his return.
Oh, and he's got it right now. I mean, this is a little bit like Rocky asking Mick to cut him right here. He's got a major shiner there. We got some battle-tested guys out here. Issa Ahmed gets 6 stitches in the Kansas game the other night. And Bob said that to pour salt in the wound, he got called for the foul. That's the worst, when you got to go with 6 stitches and a foul. These are 2 tough teams, 2 tough coaches. It's going to be a battle the entire night.
Konate in rhythm. Walachuil the rebound. That field goal by Vital broke a 5-minute stretch without a basket for Baylor.
Something we just saw right there. They were content to let LeConte bring the ball up. They're trying to deny the ball to Lindsey because they know he pushes it so much better on the break. LeConte's messing with the dribble. He's got to get it thrown ahead.
7 first-half turnovers for Baylor after the steal by West. West leans in, banks it home. Manu LeConte gives it up to Issa Ahmad. 8 giveaways for Baylor. And Ahmad has it go off the side of the backboard. And they will say play on. Bob Huggins looking for a foul. Issa Ahmad thinking he was pushed. But Ahmad gives it right back to the Bears.
This is a good sub. But West Virginia's onto something. They are making it hard for Lindsey. Now, Lindsey's got to do a better job of getting open. He's got to step into his man. He's got to go through his body. He's got to separate with his lower body, show his hands, and not allow this denial, because obviously West Virginia's got great respect in how he handles the ball.
Daxter Miles called for a foul. That'll put West Virginia over the limit. That'll be a 1-and-1 at the opposite end for Baylor. Bolden back in for Miles. That's the second foul on Dax Miles. So King McClure, who has not scored in double figures in the last 7 games for Baylor.
Oh, fell off the lines. Hold your follow through. He was falling off the line before the ball ever hit the rim. You got no chance to make the free throw when you do that.
Bolden to Ahmad. Muscles his way to the goal. Basket interference. Ahmad and Sad Konate both went up, and it looked like either could have touched it while it was on the rim.
They're getting that ball to the baseline. All right, the pass is open to the middle, but they had the baseline move. Good call. But here's the bigger problem for Baylor. Not the 2 points, but how open Konate was to get that offensive board. Like you mentioned, it's hard to get it to the corner, but once it's there, you can get about anything you want.
Lindsey with a crossover. 10 to shoot for Baylor when we come back. Only 8 points so far for a Baylor team that over their last 7 is averaging 77 points per game.
It's an ACC Sonic blockbuster double feature. North Carolina, Syracuse at 7, Louisville, Duke at 9. Wednesday on ESPN.
Bob Shoes and Tom Crean back in Waco. A low-scoring first half between West Virginia and Baylor. But boy, Duke has piled up points without Bagley. How about the job that Grayson Allen in particular has done, and that group without Bagley of late?
Well, you said it exactly right. Grayson Allen is shooting the ball with confidence. He's ready to shoot it. They're moving the ball really well. Chavon Darliere has come in and done a good job of helping replace Bagley. But I want to go to Syracuse. Tyus Battle is really getting better at Syracuse, shooting the ball better. They're going to be somebody to really keep an eye on these next couple of weeks.
Ahmad from the corner rolls home a 3.
Where Issa Ahmad struggles sometimes is he shoots it off his back foot. He shoots it on the way down. There he caught it. He elevated, shot it, held his follow through. That's what they need from him.
Maston around Ahmad with the left hand, comes up short. Konate tries to save it, and it's knocked out by Walachuil. Boy, Sad Konate continues to dominate at the rim. And then defense leads to offense.
Great pass, right on time. Look at how he shoots it. He elevates it, he shoots it at the top of his jump. And that's a big thing, because too many times, jump shooters, they don't jump, right? They don't jump, and they end up kind of hopping into it. They shoot it on the way down. Never works. That worked.
West Virginia was ranked as high as #2 in America And through their first 16 games, they were 15-1, unbeaten at home, averaging close to 83 points per game. How about how the numbers have dipped over their last 11? They are still a very solid team, but another blown double-digit loss in a lopsided free throw affair against Kansas on Saturday, part of this string of 11 games.
I think it's a couple things. I think when they struggle, they get stagnant offensively, and it affects them on the defensive end. And that happened numerous times in January. But I look at the last 5 games. Okay, overall inside of the league, they're shooting 44. Now in the last 5, 48. Shooting 37 from the 3. Now they're shooting 44. Shooting 82. All right, they lead the league in free throw shooting. Now they're shooting 87. They're on the uptick.
And of course, they always have press Virginia, top-notch defense, arguably the best defensive guard in America in Javon Carter to lean on, and they have held Baylor to 8 points through the first 13 minutes. Here's Issa Ahmad fading away, adding to the West Virginia lead.
Great job of separating from his defender, shooting the fadeaway, holding his follow-through.
Low pass from Nooney Ahmad, past Maston, and out of bounds. It's another Baylor turnover.
Bob, you don't have depth if you don't have consistency. And right now, I think West Virginia is improving, and it's going to be somebody that is going to be a big, big factor in March. They're getting some consistent play from their bench. Their consistency is coming. And again, what you've got guys doing is they understand what Bob wants. They're playing to their role.
And just like that, Manu Lacat is able to create a turnover. He stole it away from Bolden, but missed from in close, and Issa Ahmad corrals it for West Virginia.
They switch to the man.
Route back in for Kanate. Bolden finds Ahmad on the cut. And it's eventually taken by King McClure.
They just come at you with the reach. I mean, they are like gnats going after that ball.
Tyson Jolly is hit hard, and he'll go to the line.
They escaped that, Bob, but there is no question that the way they're active on that ball and deflections are such a huge part of Bob Huggins' success, Bob Huggins' plan. They got about 3 on that play right there.
That foul on Wesley Harris, his second. So Tyson Jolly to the free throw line, shooting 67% so far this season there. And Saturday afternoon at 4:15 Eastern, the regular season title could be determined. To this point, game of the year in the Big 12. Kansas and Texas Tech. They meet in Lubbock, and that will be followed by Duke and Syracuse, both games on ESPN, as well as the ESPN app. So you want to see an atmosphere that's off the chain? How about when game day kicks off a day of college basketball coverage from Lubbock? Those Red Raider fans will be waiting for the game day guys to show up.
And maybe, I'm not speaking to the Kansas fans on this, but as a college basketball fan, let's really hope that Keenan Evans gets to be in that game. Will that be an incredible game? And it only gets easier for Texas Tech. Then they get to hop on a plane and go to Morgantown for senior night on Monday night. What a league. I mean, this has been so incredible being a part of this year, working these Tuesday games and having a chance to see this league up close. So much respect for leagues like this, the SEC. It's just so much good basketball.
And the intensity of this league could collectively put a guy that everyone automatically assumed was just going to be the player of the year in the conference as Bolden backs one and is able to bank one into the NIT. If Trae Young doesn't pick it up and Oklahoma doesn't pick it up, they might not make the NCAA tournament. And that is something that would have been a ridiculous thought 3 weeks ago.
Well, the one thing that Trae Young has done up until the last couple of weeks is see another steal.
Carter does it again.
So quick with their hands.
Allen plus the foul.
This is press Virginia at its best. Length, trap, go for the ball, take it from them, get into a 2-on-1. Great finish for Teddy Allen, who they really need to pick it up. He is such a factor for them when he's played well, especially early on. They've played well. He's really good at the foul line. But going back to the Oklahoma thing, Bob, there's no doubt. Trae Young was continuing to get better week after week, and their team was getting better week after week. They got to go forget about the offense right now a little bit, figure out how they're going to get better defensively, get that break going again, and start to see that rim start to look like a hula hoop again rather than a Dixie cup. Because right now it's looked like that too much, and they've taken too many challenge shots, and they've got to find a way to create off their defense.
Javon Carter only 1 assist away now. He needed 3 tonight to create his own statistical category in terms of major conference players. The first ever with 1,500 points, 500 rebounds, 500 assists, 300 steals. He has hit points, rebounds, and steals for his career. He's now up to 499 career assists.
And he'll be the first in the history of the power conferences to do something like that.
It's amazing.
It really is, for a kid that was just another great example, hardly recruited. And Bob was glowing today about the 3.51 GPA, going to graduate in May in sports management. Another thing he said, that he is the first in line when it's time to go to a children's hospital, when it's time to meet somebody that's coming in that's underprivileged, they're going through a hard time. And I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised that Bob, I would think Bob would probably have a lot of guys that are looking to do that. But when your star player's leading the way for helping other people, guy plays with a complete chip on his shoulder. He's the kind of guy you want to root for whether you like basketball or not.
Issa Ahmad with the finger roll, slips it through. He's got 10.
Well, we figured he was going to get challenged the last couple days, and that he would be a big part of this game after only having 2 against Kansas, and is definitely picking up from where he left off a week ago.
Awala Chuil, jump hook, gets the roll.
That's his move, when he can get back to that left shoulder with that size and the way he puts his shoulder in your sternum, he is very hard to defend.
Can Baylor make a run before halftime? Lindsey, no good. Offensive rebound. And TJ Maston will go to the free throw line.
West Virginia foul on number 23, Issa Ahmad, his
second foul on Issa Ahmad. Zach Konate back up at the scorer's table, so we'll see who he subs out. Here comes Wesley Harris as well for the Mountaineers.
It's going to be big for Maston's confidence right here to get himself going. He started shaking his head, getting a little frustrated. He's coming off, I mean, he's been called player of the week by some of the polls. He's an 86% free throw shooter. Buries the first one. Exactly what the young freshman needs right here to get himself going. He's got to quit rushing in the paint. The length of West Virginia has affected his move, and it shouldn't. He has great elevation on his shot. Just hold your follow through, put it in.
Well, Issa Ahmad heads to the bench as Konate checks back in. Good hands by King McClure. The recovery, though, by Bolden. Teddy Allen. Offensive foul.
Yeah, that's not the move that he needed. He needed to make that pass.
It's been all West Virginia here in the first half. They've got a 17-point lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball, and LegalZoom. Get legal help for your business and family at LegalZoom.com.
Seth, I think it's going to work out fine because they're doing such a good job of not like the old Bob Huggins press of going way up into your body. Like, they're giving some space and they're really utilizing their length. And watching them up close like this, they're not suffocating to the point where somebody can step into them and draw a foul. They're doing a great job of using their length, moving their feet, closing traps, and then reacting when the pass is made. I think the press is going to work for them. I also think the fact that they are getting deeper, and they have a front line depth right now. Nobody has the depth on the front line that Michigan State has, but I would say the 3-4 type of depth, the small forward, power forward type of depth West Virginia has. I don't know if anybody equals that when these guys are all clicking.
That foul on Kanate, his second. And right now, Joe Lunardi predicts that potentially 8 of the 10 teams from this league could end up in the NCAA tournament. Now, this is before the Big 12 tournament is played. And some of these teams are going to knock each other off over the next week and a half as they wrap up the regular season as well. So Joe actually thinks one of those bottom 3, maybe bottom 4, Oklahoma, Kansas State, Baylor, or Texas, will be lopped off based on the competition next 2 weeks and into the Big 12 tournament.
I think Texas is getting a lot better. Mo Bamba has improved so much since November. Shaka Smart and his staff of Darren Horn, who spends a lot of time with the big guys, fantastic at making them better. Their key will be, will Dylan Osentowski continue to get better? Will he continue to play at a high level? Baylor was able to go at him a week ago, isolate him. He couldn't deal with it. He's coming off a better game. He's going to be a huge key for them.
Crowd wanted to walk. Instead, Wesley Harris gets the bucket. Maston traveled. That is not going to make the crowd happy. And that is not making Scott Drew happy, as the entire Baylor sideline and everyone here at the Farrell Center thought that they missed a walk called on Wesley Harris, only to get that called against them at the other end.
Yeah, I think in this game, if I was going to have one criticism, we've missed a couple travels tonight already. And a couple times before the feet were moving before the ball was down. That's something they've got to clean it up a little bit.
Carter rips through. He is called for a travel. That's the 5th West Virginia turnover.
Now, I don't like that, okay? Because you could have easily called a foul on Baylor right there, an off-the-ball body foul, and maybe that's one of those 50-50s that they passed on, and then we get the travel call there. I don't agree with that at all. That should have been a foul on the cut to the middle, all right, on the Baylor defender holding him to not let him get to a spot.
King McClure double team. Maston bails him out, but then throws it away. 11 turnovers for Baylor. West Virginia averages forcing 17.5 turnovers per game. That puts them in the top 7 in America. They're on their way to potentially forcing 30 tonight if Baylor doesn't clean it up.
You're absolutely right. And right now, this is a key possession to get a stop because frustration's starting to hit Baylor a little bit. Lindsey's not on the court. And Tyson Jolly was the one trying to rally them. You're going to need more than Tyson Jolly, all right, as young as he is, being the catalyst to get you back and get you out of a frustrated way.
Tough shot for Bolden. Maston takes it away from Rout. He needs a guard to come help him out, and he finds Jolly.
Push the ball. Get back on the attack. They're going against a set defense all the time. That's a recipe for disaster against West Virginia.
Loala Chuil through traffic knocks it down.
That move is so automatic. He is so good around the rim. Being able, again, that's his 3rd or 4th time that he's gotten a great look over his left shoulder.
Maston the rebound.
He settled. Not a good look. Are they going to attack and capitalize?
Jolly runs right into the back of his own man, Loala Chuil. And then Rout rejects Maston and takes it away. Bolden from the corner. Buries a triple. 5-point turnaround.
Yeah, and they did it with 4 guys because Harris is still standing here. Got up late, still kind of stunned about where he's at. I thought they might blow the whistle to give him a chance to come out of the game, but he seems to be playing through it. Bolden again, Bob, he got his foot down. All right, he's not rushing. When he shoots on balance, he is a tremendous 3-point shooter. And look at the frustration that he's bringing to LeConte. I mean, he's not letting anything be easy with the man he's guarding.
McClure can't connect. Bolden's got the rebound. Knocked down by Loala Chuil. That draws a foul. And that should be team foul number 7 against Baylor. So it's a 1-and-1 for Beetle Bolden.
He just didn't go up strong. That's a play where you got to pivot, make the pass. But great next pass by West to the corner. They want Bolden running side to side in that zone, and even though Baylor's not in zone, he's still getting on each side of the corners for threes.
For West Virginia, number 14, Chase Harler.
Chase Harler will give Wesley Harris a break the last 35 seconds or so of the first half. And West Virginia now 6 of 8 at the free throw line in the first half, which doesn't sound like much. It's a nice departure from Saturday, though.
Oh, there's no doubt. They're under their percentage right now in the last 5 games.
By far.
Now, he's got 7 guys. Bob has 7 guys. All right, in Big 12 play, they're shooting over 79% from the line. That is big time.
The key is, can they get there?
Absolutely.
And they could not on Saturday at Allen Fieldhouse.
And it took them a while to get to the bonus tonight, but they've been more aggressive.
Lindsey dribbles it down. 5 to shoot. He goes at Bolden. Spins. Stripped away by Beetle Bolden. The hit ahead to Javon Carter. Manu Lacan. Blocked by Carter, who never gives up on a play. 12 first half turnovers for Baylor. And what a half it was for the Mountaineers. A 22-point lead at the break.
And it's been done with their defense. They took too many jump shots early in the game. Baylor was able to offensive rebound the game. They didn't have many turnovers early, but then here came Press Virginia. They were getting him in the backcourt. They're getting him in the front court. They are not only challenging every shot, they are challenging every pass. They are trying to take your breath away every time you have the ball.
The longest win streak for Baylor in Big 12 play is 5, and they have won 5 in a row. But boy, are they going to have an uphill climb in the second half when we get back at Dan Burke, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams, the Land Rover Halftime Report. Welcome back to Super Tuesday, presented by Boost Mobile. Just about set for the start of the second half here in Waco. The football team in a slam dunk contest at halftime. And I'm sure the head coach, Scott Drew, would like to see some of that show up on the court for his team, as it's a 22-point lead for West Virginia at the break. Bob Wischusen here with Tom Crean. Back on January 9th, when these two teams met in Morgantown, 21 turnovers forced by West Virginia against Baylor. They might force more tonight, the rate they're at now.
They might, and Sagabal Kanate had 7 blocks on that night. He may get more than that. Right now, their pressure is fantastic, and it is 94 feet of owning the court. We'll start in the backcourt. All right, you got to attack that pressure, but their length, it was too much of a lazy pass back. That one, the pressure turned them up. They didn't get the reversal. They're not stepping through their passes. That's midcourt. Now we get down into the front court. Sagabal Kanate is just taking the ball, whether it's with 1 or 2 hands. That gets the break started. Their points off turnovers have been 16-4 inside of this game. Now, Baylor has got to do a much better job of making the quicker, simpler pass in the front court. They're trying to drive against a set defense. They're sitting in the corners rather than getting lifted out of the corners. Let's see if they can start once we get down with Baylor ball to see if they've made any adjustments.
Shot clock winding down.
Great movement early on in this zone. They want the middle. They're taking it away. Force a tough shot.
But the tip follow is there. Kanate and Harris both crash the offensive boards.
That's the killer, Bob. That's the killer. You force a team to take a tough shot. You don't block out on the backside, weak side rebound.
Manu Lacan with a shot fake, but Issa Ahmad closed out. And now Joe Lawala-Chuil. 10 on the shot clock. It's a steal by Javon Carter. Took it away from Tristan Clark, but throwing it onto the bench is Lawala-Chuil, and a smile from Javon Carter.
Steal. Javon Carter comes from the weak side, the blind side, takes it, attacks the rim, but he kind of forgot Joe Luell at your wheel as the shot blocker too.
Clark able to hit. Or Carter rather able to hit, and it extends the West Virginia lead.
He rebounded pretty well from a blocked shot, didn't he? They are, right now, the biggest problem Baylor's got, they're not strong enough with the ball. That ball is loose in their hands. They're playing like they've never done a wrist curl. All right, get the ball, be strong with it, make a pass, step through it, attack the rim, all the things that go into being tough with the ball. Like that.
Strong
Great
drive
finish
by
right there.
Plus the foul. Well, it looked as if Roger Ayers signaled that a foul had been called, but it's just going to be the bucket for Vital.
Switch back into the man.
Carter for three. He's got another.
You look up the word baller. I think we got to put Javon Carter's name there. He just keeps getting better and better. He's playing with great energy.
Lindsey double teams, picks up his dribble. He had no help in the backcourt against the press and has to call a timeout. And the frustration builds for Baylor.
Look at these feet, Bob. Do you see the shortstop in him, Bob? Do you see the shortstop? The quick feet, knocks it down, lines it up. Beautiful three.
Bob Wischusen and Tom Crean back in Waco as we take a look at the Capital One fan vote, the reveal of the results. We asked this question, the fans on Big Monday, and we'll take a look at how the fans voted. Which top 5 team would you fear most in the tournament? Villanova, Michigan State, Duke, Virginia, or Xavier? And I agree with the fans. I think they got it right. I think the 2 most dangerous teams we head towards March right now, I think Villanova and Michigan State, Coach. What do you think?
Oh, I think so too, and I don't think there's any doubt about it because of the depth of Michigan State and how good they can be at the basket, and their defense is so good. But if I had to pick, I'm going to go with Villanova. They're going to add Phil Booth Jr. back here at some point soon. With the way they played against Xavier both times this year, and Xavier is a dynamite team. There is no doubt about it. But Xavier, 2 straight games, has had to chase that ball the entire game because Villanova moves the ball so well. And right now, they're not putting anybody on the court that can't make threes, including their 5-man, Omari Spellman. I think that travels. They are, and I think they're going to keep getting better.
Villanova keeps winning. Is there a chance that Jalen Brunson becomes the player of the year? He wins the Wooden Award because, as of about 2 weeks ago, it was Trae Young and no one else in the conversation.
Well, I think Jalen Brunson has been in it the whole time because all he does is win, 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 right?
Yep.
But the bottom line is he's getting better. When you look at improvement, when you look at how he affects his teammates, when you look at the way he makes the game easier for everybody else, and on top of that, they're winning at such a high level, there's no question he could win that award.
And boy, the game looks very easy right now for Saad Konate. Another flush off a follow. And West Virginia pouring it on. 3 minutes gone by in the second half. Here's Lindsey to the goal, and it's pinned again by Konate. Dax Miles tied up by Lindsey. Possession arrow belongs with Baylor. But boy, Saad Konate has become arguably the best shot blocker in America.
It's what you've got to try to do. Like, you've got to know he's there. So the only way to attack that, because right now he's getting it on the offensive end as well. He's going up, he's strong, he's going with 2 hands, he's rebounding the ball. Get somebody on the baseline. He's going to leave to block your shot. He's going to leave to punch your shot. So get somebody on the baseline and try to drop it off because they're not rotating down into his man as well when he leaves to block shots.
Anu LeConte still has not scored. 5th leading scorer in the Big 12 as Nouni Amat is fouled by Carter. That's his second.
Right now, what has happened is and this happened in the middle of the first half, Baylor has become a dribble offense. All right, they're struggling with the pass. They're not getting their cutting. They're not going inside as much other than into Joe here and there. They're trying to dribble through this pressure. You have to attack the pressure, hit the middle, reverse it, and try to get them on a long closeout on the other side.
Anu LeConte still looking for his first points. He'll lean in here, and there it is, finally on the board.
good drive. They got to the corner. He drove it middle. That's something they're very good at. Lindsey's tremendous at driving to the middle. Let's get those guys on the wing a little bit. Let them see if they can attack for each other.
Issa Ahmad blocked from behind by Vital. Lindsey's going to try to attack, go coast to coast. Can't finish it. Basket interference. As Nuni Amat, or rather Lual Achuil, tried to follow. So wave away the bucket, and it stays 50-24.
That's such a tough play because you're thinking tip dunk. He gets it up, he gets it off the board, but it's a good call. You got to go strong off the glass in a case like that of Lindsey. You're not going to get the ball to float up. Take it strong, hope for the foul.
Traveling called on West. That'll give it to Baylor when we come back. But the Bears, 5-game win streak, the hottest team in the Big 12 coming into tonight, being dominated at home.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball, and Arby's. Arby's, we have the meats.
Papa Shoes and Tom Crean back in Central Texas, but it's West Texas where you want to be if you're a college basketball fan. Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. The game day guys head to Lubbock in advance of Kansas, Texas Tech. If there's one team that, based on those standings, has a chance before the end of the season to end the 13, possibly 14-year run of Bill Self and Kansas winning the Big 12 championship, it is Texas Tech. That is going to be a madhouse on Saturday afternoon.
Oh, that would be, I wish I could go. I'd buy a ticket, just go sit in the stand, standing room only. What a story Texas Tech is. I mean, they are an incredible story of the way that they attack. They're deep, their motion offense, they defend you. They got a great point guard. They've earned every bit of it this year, starting early in the season.
Honor LeComte will shoot 3 free throws off the foul by Bolden, and the word we're getting is that Keenan Evans got the sprained foot day to day. We talked with Bill Self last night. He is 100% expecting that Keenan Evans is going to play in that game.
Oh, I would expect that it would be, you have a player like Keenan Evans, you'd have to put a team of doctors in front of the door and security on the other side.
You'd have to tie that guy down to not play in that game.
No
question.
And Kansas, they're just getting better and better. You've seen it up firsthand. I saw it last week. Devontae Graham, we ran the graphic last week about him being the Iron Man. It's incredible what he gets done. I mean, his perseverance on both ends of the floor, his ability to make the last 3 minutes of the game look as focused and energized as the first 3 minutes of the game. And his improvement level from one year to the next is astounding to me. But he just keeps getting better and better right now, and he brings so much confidence to his team, much like Keenan Evans does to Texas Tech.
Those 3 Manu LeComte free throws actually put a little jolt into the crowd, as they would like to see if they can help Baylor maybe put together a run as the scoring leaders in the Big 12. Manu LeComte there, 5th in the league at 16.5 points a game, but he has not been a factor tonight. He's got 5. And it will be free throws for Issa Ahmad. Foul on Nuni Amat.
Yeah, Issa Ahmad didn't even need the pump fake in that situation. Fans didn't agree with the call. I think it was a verticality type situation, came over the top. But again, one of those 50-50s.
Back to Kansas real quick. Is this Bill Self's best coaching job, in your opinion, in all these years that they've won the Big 12?
And that's a tough question, because I think anytime when you've won like he's won, I'll go back to Bob Huggins in Cincinnati. He would just dominate Conference USA. Every year it was a different story on how you win.
Kanate does it again.
I would say when you look at the lack of depth up front, the way that Doak has improved, the way that Malik Newman has improved, the fact that he's got a young team, basically, when you look at what Graham and Spee have done, I would say in answer to your question, yes. because to win the way that they're winning, with the Big 12 being as good as it is this year. I mean, think about it now. Iowa State, you think anybody wants to face them in the Big 12 tournament? I wouldn't. And they're in last place in this league. What he's done, what Bill has done is fantastic.
Deep jump hook from Lawal Achuil. I think this is about, with all due respect to the guys on that team, as least talented a team as he has had, and certainly the thinnest bench he's had.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go with least talented, but I would go with thinnest bench. And I think they're pretty talented. People forget Malik Newman was a McDonald's All-American, but what he's done is a very good job with making him better. I would say, I would go on this limb.
Nooney Ahmad hits a three.
Good for Nooney. Good for Nooney. A few weeks back in Oklahoma, he had 5 threes in Big 12 play. In that game in Oklahoma, he had 6. The game alone.
Nooney Ahmad cuts the lead down to 21, and there is some juice in the building. 13:55 to go, and the Baylor fans are trying to urge a team on. But there were some emotions in this building earlier as the story was told to the crowd. A standing ovation was given to the father of Nooney Ahmad. And Nooney Ahmad was born in a Kenyan refugee camp, moved to the United States when he was a year old in 1996 with his mother and his older brother. His father, though, did not pass medical testing all the way back then. He was finally given permission recently to come to America, arrived this past December 1st. So Quat Ahmad, the father of Nooney Ahmad, met his son for the first time since infancy this past weekend. And here is Nooney Ahmad meeting his father for the first time since he was a baby. His dad was just finally able, December 1st, to come over to the U.S. And he is in the crowd tonight with Nooney's brother. And they received a standing ovation when that exact story was told up on the big screen here at Farrell Center.
If I hadn't seen that this afternoon, I might have shed a tear tonight seeing that, because I was already braced for it. That's an incredible story. I can't even begin to imagine that. Most people in this world can't.
Lawal Achuil rips away the rebound and finds Manu Lacan. Lacan floats one up towards the goal, and it's blocked again. Javon Carter needs some help, and Issa Ahmad bails him out.
Let's see if they can get the middle pulled up and get Joe up top. Great screen across.
Kanate missed everything, though. Here comes Nooney Ahmad. Right. Lacan's got Issa Ahmad caught on a switch. And he'll try an NBA three and connect. He's got 8.
Now, Baylor could string some stops together and get more movement in their offense. They're trying to attack off the dribble too much against a set defense. Instead of making the quick kick, get it reversed. If they could get back to that, they'll get more open looks like that man who just got.
Teddy Allen.
Got away with the travel.
Kanate, the jump hook is good.
Automatic. Eric Martin has done a fantastic job. He was a very good player for Bob at Cincinnati. He's their post-teaching development coach. He has done a great job, superb job of helping Sagabal get a go-to move.
And Vital couldn't save it. Kanate came together with Lawal Achuil, and they're both slow to get up. Rout comes back in for Ahmad. Lacan will sit down as Jake Lindsey checks back in, and there is the father and brother of Nooney Ahmad.
Can you imagine just getting to the United States and obviously from dribbling the basketball in the video? He hadn't spent a lot of time doing that. His son's been well coached over here. Can you imagine what's going through his mind watching his son? I can't even begin to think. But his son has been well coached over here. He played for Hank Plona at Indian Hills, a tremendous junior college. Played with a former player of mine there, Emmett Holt, who loves him. This is a very good young man. His dad can be proud of what he's done.
Allen lost it. Maston taken away by Wesley Harris, but a foul called on Harris. Nooney Ahmad, he can knock some down. He is a three-point threat, and if he can hit a few more as Wesley Harris picks up his fourth foul, then maybe Baylor can crawl back in this game. And maybe his dad will have a few more reasons to cheer here in Waco.
Way to send it in, Nooney. Way to send it in. Look at Dad and how proud he is. Just beautiful.
ESPN after Kentucky, Arkansas. Catch Sports Center with Linda Cohn and John Anderson. They'll have a former Wildcat, Anthony Davis, talking about what might have been in New Orleans. Cubs manager Joe Madden joins the show to share his team's World Series plan. And at midnight, Steve Levy and Barry Melrose. A special edition of Sports Center with Alex Ovechkin and Oklahoma State head football coach Mike Gundy. But that pairing, Sports Center that night beginning at 11 Eastern on ESPN as well as the ESPN.
No, wait, did you just put Barry Melrose and Mike Gundy in the same sentence?
And toss in Steve Levy.
Has anybody ever seen those two in the same room?
That's a good point.
Now that's must-see television.
Do you think that Barry Melrose, I take that back, you think that Mike Gundy, when he went kind of from that crew cut, went to the barber and said, give me the Melrose?
No, because I think Barry Melrose's hair is unduplicable. Unduplicated. I don't think, whatever the word is, you can't get it.
Yeah.
That is unbridled hair right there.
Yeah, you can't handle the mullet.
Mike Gundy is the most impressive hair in coaching, no doubt about that. That's must-see television right there.
Offensive rebound for Tristan Clark. This crowd wants to explode. King McClure. He'll drive it and get blocked by Issa Ahmad. 12 blocked shots for the Mountaineers. Clark against Rout. Short.
Well, they've already hit their season high and gone past it. We may not start to look for the all-time West Virginia high right now on blocks with 10.5 left in the game.
McClure held ball. It'll stay with West Virginia.
Jump ball is called. Possession favoring West Virginia. Checking in for the Mountaineers, number 3, James Bolden, number 50, Sagaba Kanata.
Kanate back in along with Beetle Bolden, as Rout will go to the bench for Bob Huggins. In spite of the fact that Baylor is down by 20, you can feel that this crowd, with a 5-game win streak that they've watched over the past 2 weeks, believes that if the home team can hit a shot or two, they can get themselves back in the game.
Oh, yeah, they realize it is a long game. Now, every possession obviously matters a little bit more than the last one when you don't get something and the game gets later, but they know this is not insurmountable.
That three won't go from the corner for West. Lindsay scoops it. Kanate! He blocks it again, but Maston is there for the putback. 9 blocked shots for Kanate.
At some point, Baylor, and I love their desire to attack the rim. But I said it earlier, they got to find somebody in that drop-off area because Kanate right now is just having a party, a one-man party at that rim anytime somebody comes down there.
West from the corner. That hit the top of the backboard as Manu LeConte is set to come back in.
I had a team at Indiana, Bob, a couple years ago, played Louisville in the Garden, and we were young. We had some young guys, and it was the same thing. Like, they didn't realize, like, Louisville's for real blocking shots. Like, you're not just going in and getting a layup. You're not just going in and making a finesse play. And hence we lost the game. And in a situation like that, you've got to be much smarter. You're not getting that shot around him there.
A foul was called. Manu LeConte was just called for a foul as he came back on the floor. No, it wasn't a foul. He thought he was called for a foul. That was actually a reset of the shot clock up to 20
Watch
seconds
Miles in this
by
play.
Pat Adams.
Watch Miles on the dive. They covered that well. They knew they wanted the bottom man to be able to pick up that dive. They forced the ball out.
Good steal by Clark. Manu Lacat for three. The tip followed. Maston out of bounds. Roger Ayers needs help. Gets it from Pat Adams, and it stays with Baylor. That'll bring Javon Carter and Teddy Allen back in as Bolden and West will sit down. Nooney Amat fades away. Yes. He's got 12.
Nooney, he made something out of nothing. He drove it baseline. They cut it off. But it pays to be long, and it pays to have good footwork, and that's exactly what happened on that turnaround shot.
A takeaway by King McClure. Amat at Allen. Another fadeaway. He's got back-to-back jumpers.
Big possession right now because they've tried to force the ball into the middle. Took a corner three before, not there. They need that ball movement again against this zone.
You could sense that the crowd thought if a couple of shots went down, you never know what Mr. Amat might be able to witness, as at one point, West Virginia led by as many as 28. That has now been cut in half with a lot of time on the clock.
Well, I'm looking at that drive. He jabs him. He's cut off. They play him with two. Tremendous fadeaway. All right, great follow through. Then he gets him up in the air. They don't bite, but he's able to step back. And when you are that big and long and can shoot over the jumper, Dad has got to be excited about that footwork and finish.
And for the folks back in Morgantown, after they watched for the third consecutive matchup with Kansas, West Virginia blow a second-half double-digit lead. You had to feel, if you're a Mountaineer, like 28 points was a pretty safe advantage. And yet now, under 9 minutes to go, crowd back in it, and it's a 14-point game.
Well, they've got a leader with great composure for a senior in Javon Carter. They need it more than ever right now to stem this tide and change momentum back.
Teddy Allen, no. Canate tries to follow, tied up. And a foul is called. That's going to go against Tristan Clark. That's his third. Only the third team foul on Baylor in the second half.
Well, the Baylor team, fans, coaches wanted to travel on this play, and I believe they're right. I think the travel occurred before whatever foul the official saw Jerry Pollard on that play.
Ahmad lost it. King McClure with another steal. Maston lays it in. It was 28. The lead is down to 12.
That's an interesting thing to watch with a long game ahead of us here now, Bob, with this cut. Scott Drew is down to one timeout. They cannot waste the timeout so that he has something late in this game if they can continue to make this run.
Miles for three. In and out. Manu Lacat thought about a three. Maston over the top of Carter. It won't go. Canate fouled by Maston. And those two go chest to chest. And a technical foul has been called. Maston and Canate both get teed up by Pollard.
And you know what? Neither one of them needed to say a thing. They really didn't. That hurts. I know it's a double technical, but Maston didn't need to do that. Sagaba didn't need to do that. Leave it alone, guys. Come on. This is a big-time game.
Little phony toughness here.
I don't want to call it phony, but it's needless. It's absolutely needless in a situation like that.
Bob Wischusen, Tom Crean back here at the Farrell Center in Waco. Issa Ahmad's going to throw it in for West Virginia. The Mountaineers have seen what was once a 28-point lead whittled all the way down to 12. Let's see if that last timeout settled down West Virginia a bit. As coach, it's a 21-5 run. And West Virginia is nearly 5 minutes into this drought without a field goal.
Well, they settled for a couple of jumpers. Then they start trying to force passes against the zone. But the biggest problem, Bob, West Virginia is not nearly strong enough with the ball right now on their drives. They've had some balls taken away from them in 50-50 scrums. Exactly what Baylor was doing in the first half, losing the ball. West Virginia's doing it now.
Kanate, nice shot fake. And that got Clark to commit. And he is called for his fourth foul.
If Baylor's going to continue to make strides, because again, I said this in the first half, Larry Harrison, Bob Huggins, they kept preaching the fact you had to pump fake the Baylor big men. They don't need to leave their feet to block shots. I know they're long. Just stand up, wall up, verticality, and force a tough shot.
Both teams now out of fouls to give, so we'll shoot free throws the rest of the way. Ahmad with 5 to shoot. Back to Miles. He has to put it up. And he's fouled, and it's a chance for a 4-point play. What a way to end the drought as Nooney Ahmad fouls Miles, and he still hits the triple.
What a beautiful pass, right on time, on target. He steps into the shot. Look at this pass from the corner, right there, steps into it. They wanted him to step in. He did. That could be a momentum turner right there. 4-point play. This is where West Virginia, they have 7 guys, as we said earlier, that are shooting over 79% from the line in the Big 12, including Daxter Miles Jr.
Miles made 5 threes in the loss against Kansas. That was his first tonight. He's now 1 for 5 from 3, but that was a game changer.
Now, let's see if they attack this pressure, because in the first half with this, they were just too soft with the ball. Attack it, get the ball reversed, stay on the attack the way you've been.
Maston backs down Ahmad. Leans in. Caught under the basket. Lawal Achuil. Kanate takes it away, and he's fouled. Lawal Achuil fouled Sagaba Kanate, so Kanate will shoot free throws at the other end.
Now, this is exactly what you don't want if you're Baylor. Okay, you're in a one-on-one play. Everybody's standing. You're down near breathing on the baseline, okay? Instead of letting the ball continue to move, ball gets taken away. That's a freshman mistake that can't be made. You just cannot go into one-on-one play when you're trying to make a comeback. That's what got him in trouble in the first place.
They actually got Maston on that foul. That's his second. Kanate, a 76% free throw shooter so far this year. And a career-high 9 blocks to go along with how many he had in the last matchup between these two teams?
He had 7. He is now sitting at 16 blocks.
In 2 games.
In 2 games against Baylor.
That is...
And really, Baylor needs to figure out that he's there.
Put yourself in Scott Drew's shoes. Like, you'll see him in your sleep.
Well, yeah, and I'd be losing my mind when my guards are trying to drive it on the shot block. Okay? Make the next pass. Drop the ball off. Get them in rotation. Don't allow him to just tee off.
Scott Drew, speaking of being teed off, just got teed. My eyes were at the other end as West Virginia was trying to inbound against Baylor's pressure, and all of a sudden Pat Adams blew his whistle at the opposite end of the court, and Scott Drew said some magic words. The last thing that Baylor needed there was to get teed up.
No, exactly. And Pat Adams is that is not somebody that's got a quick temper. I mean, he obviously, something had to stir that. Pat Adams, one of the best officials, and we got Roger Ayers in this game, Jerry Pollard, Pat Adams, excellent officials. So you know they're going to control the game. Look how quick they called the technical on Maston and on Kanate.
If you watch the left side of the screen, you can see Scott Drew out past out of the coach's box, and I don't know what he said, but it was a very quick trigger from Pat Adams as he tees up Drew, and Scott Drew barely even argued.
No,
after
exactly.
he was teed up. So whatever the magic words were that he said, he knew he said it.
Well, it's still a game. I mean, it really is.
McClure, he'll go to the line.
West Virginia foul on number 13, Teddy Allen.
Now the foul line becomes an absolute key in this game. Can Baylor get to the foul line and set their defense?
And now you see Jerry Pollard's over there spending quality time with Coach Drew. Tomorrow night, catch an ACC Sonic blockbuster doubleheader on ESPN. Starts with number 10 North Carolina taking on Syracuse from the Carrier Dome at 7 Eastern. And then we'll have Louisville and Duke from Cameron Indoor Stadium. Both games on ESPN as well as the ESPN app. Duke has won 3 in a row without Bagley. North Carolina has won 5 in a row. So the triangle hot once again. And of course that all leads up to those two schools closing out the regular season against one another in matchup number 2. Duke will be looking for some revenge at Cameron.
Absolutely, that'll be a great game. And Joel Berry, it's so easy to take a guy like that for granted. You can't. He's getting better. He's so quick. He's making his teammates better. Certainly Luke May is a beneficiary of his passing. Theo Pinson's a beneficiary. They're really, really improving. Their defense is better, and they're taking better shots.
Miles gives it up, and Issa Ahmad finishes.
Yep, they were able to move Joe, all right, to have to come out and play the drive, and there's the drop-off. Now, as John Wooden would say, be quick, but don't hurry. All right, they want to get some good looks. They don't want to take too much time. They do not want to go into a one-on-one game.
Nooney Ahmad, short. All the air came out of this building with Dax Miles hitting that 3 and getting fouled. That changed the game.
It really did. And again, you're exactly right. I never heard a crowd be so loud on one end and get so quiet on the other. Just like that. There's another 3. Great next pass.
Carter tries a triple. In and out. Issa Ahmad, offensive rebound slapped away by Ahmad. Manu Lacan floats it home.
He's very good with that runner, and that's a shot that you can get over the shot blocker. And Kanate was not ready for it there, but if you get great lift, if you release it at the top, the floater's got a chance. Driving to the rim on him right now has no chance.
And Scott Drew just called Baylor's final timeout.
Yeah, and he probably had to, because they've got to be able to set their defense, and you hope now as a coach, because I've been in this situation before, that you hope that there's going to be enough stoppage in play that you can call your offense, that you can set your defense, and that's where the foul line comes in. They cannot come down and play one-on-one basketball on this attack. They've got to look for the quick break. If it's not there, get it reversed, get it swung inside. All right, get Manu off of a ball screen. But this is where Bob is really good on the other end. Well, they will not shoot it quick
and
right
Coach
now.
Huggins also has a rim protector, and that rim protector has been a major factor tonight.
Oh, there's no doubt. And what they've been able to do now, he's gotten so much better. He can score it, he can defend it, he can rebound it. He's there, he's got great timing. He can block it with one hand, he can block it with 2 hands, and he just keeps coming at you. Look at the rotation. Look at the rotation off the passer at the top of the key. Comes back down to get it. Fights in the low post straight up. And those aren't fouls. That is great verticality going straight up. I think we're going to show every block. We're going to be here another hour.
Why not?
Why not? It's impressive what he's doing.
He's fun to watch.
He really is. And again, I cannot say enough. He blocks it with either hand. He blocks it with both hands. But his timing is just a gift.
Well, Trayvon Reed, Texas Southern, Hayden Caval from Central Arkansas, the only 2 players in Division I college basketball this season that have hit double digits in block shots in a game.
I know your partner, Fran Fraschilla, loves to say that you want to attack the shot blocker. He'd be rethinking that big time if he had to deal against Sagabon Kanate. It's so hard to attack him off the dribble. I mean, it really is. He's just, it's a block party for him tonight.
Ahmad commits his 4th foul, so Javon Carter to the free throw line. Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year last season. Probably will be again this season. Maybe it'll be Sagaba Konate. There are a few players in the Big 12 that may be able to make a case for Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year this year.
And I know James Bolden doesn't get the minutes.
Yep.
But you wouldn't sneeze at that either. 26 charges, on-ball defender that he is.
And maybe Mo Bamba.
And maybe
got a case to make as well.
Nobody should be sleeping on West Virginia being a team with a legitimate chance to get to San Antonio. Legitimate.
Manu Lakat touched by Issa Ahmad.
I think, Bob, let's do this. Because we don't have a vote, right? You have a vote on the Big 12? You should. You do so many games.
Yeah, I have not been asked.
Let's just give it a duel. Let's give it to Carter. Let's give it Konate. Get 2 trophies. Or they can get just 1. If the Big 12 doesn't want to get 2 and they can share it in the building, they both deserve it. They both complement each other. There's no doubt about that.
Well, those are 3 no-brainers for the league's all-defensive team. And when Carter makes it, which you know he will be all 4 years at West Virginia a Big 12 all-defensive team selection.
That's great. And his backcourt mate and that award should be
Couple of more
Devontae
technical
Graham.
fouls handed out by Pat Adams. This time, it's Nooney Ahmad and Lamont West. Or check that Wesley Harris. As those two, as the foul shots were about to be put up by Manu Lakat, obviously had something to say to one another.
It is so ridiculous.
That's going to foul out Nooney Ahmad.
Yeah, I mean, this really is. You got to have more composure. That this is a big-time basketball game with 2 big-time teams, one fighting for their life in the tournament, and the other one having a chance to win a national championship. You don't need it. You do this in the Big 12 tournament, you do this in the NCAA tournament, you're out. Yeah, this makes no sense. They're talking, they're jawing. It's got nothing to do with what's going on in this free throw line. You're just inviting the official to do that.
You can't see anything. So obviously it's based on what they said to one another, but Pat Adams was close enough to hear whatever they said to one another.
That's not competitive is going after it on the glass. Competitive is getting a loose ball. Competitive is getting on the floor for a loose ball scrum. Competitive is not talking to each other on the foul line in a 20-point, 17-point game.
Vital fouls Dax Miles. So Daxter Miles, a 73% free throw shooter, goes to the line. Both teams over the double bonus, so it's 2 free throws the rest of the way.
You know what always kills me about those kind of technicals or guys that talk on the foul lines? And I'm not saying it about either one of these guys, but in my experience, it's usually guys that don't do a very good job of talking on defense, right? Like, that's where it's at. Talk to your teammate on the screen, talk on the weak side, encourage your teammates, call out what we're doing on offense. Don't waste time, all right, on a foul line situation because you're frustrated. Well, no one can say the referees don't have control of the game. That's for sure.
Vital. Short. Foul called. And that one's going to go against Wesley Harris. And I believe that might foul out Wesley Harris. That's his 5th.
West Virginia foul on number 21, Wesley Harris, his 5th. Team foul number 10.
One of the keys here, Bob, as we watch them sort this out, Wesley Harris and Lamont West give you something that most teams don't have. They give you 40 minutes of having 2 big, long wings that can rebound it, that can defend anybody, literally anybody on the court, and can make threes. And the last thing you need is to lose one of them because of some needless situations that you've got to be above that, especially this time of year in February. What you're going through now is getting you prepared for what you're going to deal with in March. You don't all of a sudden figure it out in March. Figure it out now.
And now we've got Pat Adams and Roger Ayers over at the monitor. So I guess they're taking a further look at the Wesley Harris foul. My eyes weren't turned that way to see if there might be some flagrant nature to that foul. But in a game that basically at this point is over, and it felt as if it was over when Dax Miles had that and one off the made three.
All right, let's watch this action now.
West Virginia foul on number 21, Eastern Harris, his fifth.
I think
Watch
we're
Pat
trying to
Adams when he
see.
heads back over. He wants to see right there
Yeah, I think that's
if Wesley
accidental.
Harris may have stuck a foot out and tried to intentionally trip Pat Adams.
Boy, I wouldn't think so. And I don't know the young man, but I wouldn't think so.
It doesn't look like they're coming away with anything extra.
No.
So Pat Adams going to walk over and talk to us just for a second.
I don't think he did either.
And he's
we both
saying
agree.
to you the same thing that he just said, I think, to Roger Ayers. He doesn't think he did that on purpose.
No, and you got to, you're looking at if you feel the intent is there, but you don't want to try to guess on intent, and he didn't. So give him credit for going to the monitor. People at home may not like it, but he doesn't want to make a wrong worse, right? He fouled out, but he did stumble, right? They walked into it, and usually things like that, more often than not, are going to be completely inadvertent. I'd be shocked if that wasn't. I've had Pat Adams in some really big games, and I've always felt very comfortable with having him there. He referees the game and doesn't get involved in nonsense.
Lawal Achuil is challenged by Kanate, and this time the foul against Kanate will put Lawal Achuil at the free throw line when we come back. 67-49, West Virginia, under 4 minutes to go.
We need that on the highlight tape, though.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile and in part by BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
It's an ACC Sonic blockbuster double feature. North Carolina, Syracuse at 7, Louisville, Duke at 9, Wednesday on ESPN.
North Carolina and Duke both playing well, and they're both in action tomorrow night in our Sonic blockbuster doubleheader. Bob Wischusen alongside Tom Crean. Under 4 minutes to go in the second half between West Virginia and Baylor in a game that's gotten a little chippy as we take a look at what Joe Lunardi right now projects as the 1 seeds and the 2 seeds as things stand right now. And I think we both agree, with Michigan State already beating Illinois tonight, that Villanova and Michigan State might be the 2 best teams out of that grouping of 8, and yet Michigan State right now on Joe Lunardi's bracketology would be the last of the 2 seeds, not even a 1 seed.
Well, I see Joe changing that eventually. Joe's a really smart guy. He is spending a lot of time in that bunker somewhere in North America, we know. Possibly on the ESPN campus at Bristol, but somewhere. But I think that will change.
And there are some Big 12 teams in that last 4 in, first 4 outline. As you got Baylor and Texas both hanging on. And boy, if Penn State were able to make it into the NCAA tournament, they would be a dangerous team. That would not be, a 12 seed that anyone would want to see in the first round.
And I think they get at least 5 teams in that tournament in the Big Ten. And I think what people are finding out, that those that have been in the Big Ten and followed it, know East Coast basketball, Tony Carr is the real deal. He is going to be not a good pro. He's going to be a fantastic pro. He sees the floor. He can shoot the ball. He makes other people better. He's got a huge edge with toughness. Pat Chambers is coaching that team extremely well, and they're tough. I mean, I don't know who'd want to face them, let alone the Big Ten, on a nightly basis. But who wants to deal with them in a one-game season in the tournament?
And Joey Brackets has the Bonnies, St. Bonaventure, off that big win over URI as an at-large team, not even having to win the league. They're going to be potentially in the NCAA tournament.
How about the week Jalen Adams had a couple weeks ago? The 40 and the 44. Just a tremendous talent, makes passes, can shoot the 3, can get other shots. Prolific three-point shooter.
No good for LeConte. Lawal Achuil and Issa Ahmad held ball, and it'll stay with Baylor.
Are we going to see history, Bob? If Saginaw went straight up, we'd have seen the 500th assist for Javon Carter.
Yep.
We need one more assist for history tonight. I'm hoping we get it. First Power 5 conference, once he gets that next assist, like you said earlier. 1,500 points, 500 assists, 500 rebounds, 300 steals. That's impeccable.
It's an amazing
basketball.
career.
It really is.
King McClure off balance, short. Another foul call.
West Virginia foul number 4, Baxter Miles.
Baxter Miles picks up the foul, so it must be, I would think, an amazing feeling. And if Javon Carter gets that one assist tonight, that'll be the story. But certainly that one assist is coming. That
Sure.
you create your own statistical category.
Absolutely.
Nobody's ever done what you've done.
Absolutely. You got guys like Tim Smith at East Tennessee State and DJ Cooper at Ohio. People that really were huge parts of their program. But this is one of the most powerful conferences, obviously. And to do it, and you know, I made the baseball reference on the this guy's a shortstop coming up. Could you imagine him on a baseball team with that quickness?
Vital crosses over and lays it off the rim and rolls out.
Now get somebody in the middle, get it swung opposite. Should get a screen across here. Nope, didn't get it.
8 to shoot.
Middle's wide open.
Bolden tied up. Shot clock violation.
Shot clock violation.
Yeah.
Returning for the Mountaineers, number 31, Logan Rout.
Tip off your weekend with a star-studded NBA Friday doubleheader. Karl Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler, and the T-Wolves will be in Houston to take on Chris Paul, James Harden, and the Rockets. And then Dennis Smith Jr. leads the Mavs against the Lakers in LA. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 7 Eastern on ESPN, as well as the ESPN app. That doubleheader coming up on Friday night.
See, if I was writing that graphic, I'd have had to throw Yogi Ferrell and Wesley Matthews in that. But that's just me. I'm biased.
Joe Lawal-Achuil able to lay it in. And the press gets set once again. Desperation time for Baylor. 15 for Lawal-Achuil. He's got another double-double.
Now, and I don't think they're looking to foul. I think they're looking to just bring the pressure, get him set. And again, let's see, last trip down, you don't want to start being sloppy. And I think it's one of the reasons that they took Bolden out right here. Play through the middle, continue to play a 40-minute game, because that's what it's going to take to win close games in March. Hit the jumper.
Ahmad can't do it. As Carter would have had that last elusive assist. King McClure. Yes. Tom Hart, Dallin Cup standing by with the call at Mizzou. As Ole Miss and Missouri follows as soon as we're done here in Waco.
My partner, Dallin Cup and Tom Hart, that's not only two really good broadcasters, that's two high-level hoopers right there. I haven't seen many games where they haven't run some clips of Tom Hart playing in high school.
Miles way outside. Foul called, it looks like against Lawal-Achuil. Nope, check that. It's going to go against West Virginia. Lawal-Achuil drew the foul. Looks like Logan Rout picks up his first. Well, we told the story of Nooni Ahmad, but Joe Lawal-Achuil also had an amazing journey that ended up as a scholarship player and a sixth-year player now in Waco. Born in Sudan as a toddler, his mom took him and 3 siblings to a refugee camp to escape the civil war in Sudan, moved to Australia as a child. His parents, he saw them for the first time in 4.5 years earlier this season as well, because he came to the U.S. to become a college basketball player.
Those stories, they're enlightening in one sense. They're heartbreaking in another. I had a young man on my team before at Indiana named Peter Jerkin. He hadn't seen his father in years, like years. And he went back to spend some time with him before he passed away. And it was like one of those things that didn't matter where we were at in the season. Didn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered if he was one of our leading scorers. He wasn't. But he got a chance to go home and be with his father, all right, in those last days. And it's so easy to lose sight of what these people go through when they come from another country in here and they're away from home and they've been away from their families at home for so long. And it's great, and I hope everybody takes a look at that and just feels really good when somebody gets an opportunity over in these states to reconnect with their family, like this with Nooney tonight.
And you can see Ole Miss and Mizzou underway at Mizzou Arena in Columbia. Again, Tom Hart, Dallin Cuff, about 45 seconds away from taking over. LeConte comes up short. Scramble for the loose ball again. Again, it's a held ball. It belongs to West Virginia with 37.5 seconds to go.
Well, I don't know if it's going to happen right now, but the night Sagaba Kanate has had, he is 1 rebound and 1 block away from a triple-double.
That's some night. And Miles into the front court.
Will he get the assist, Bob? Will he get the assist? There only might be about 10 people in this building that know he's got a chance at this.
He wants it back.
But we're 2 of them.
Ahmad gives it to him. 5 to shoot. Carter. He'll drive it instead.
Oh, use the backboard. You're a Dwayne Wade fan. You took the crossover from Dwayne Wade. He is the backboard king. Represent. You're from Maywood. He's from Robbins. Think of the people that have come to his school, Proviso East.
You never stop coaching.
Why should you?
Use the backboard with 6 seconds to go in a blowout. There's a jumper that goes down from McClure, and that will make it official. 71-60 is the final as West Virginia, for the most part, held Baylor at bay all night long. So the 5-game win streak for Baylor is history, and West Virginia with a big win on the road, trying to stabilize their season, having lost 7 of their last 11. For Tom Crean and our entire crew, I'm Bob Wischusen saying so long from Waco. Tom Hart and Dallin Cuff are standing by in Columbia. Time to join Missouri and Ole Miss.